cover each other's weakness, and it's worked so well.
Yeah, it's so interesting to see Gholdengo has been the talk of the tournament in our Masters division, being so popular in day 1 and in day 2, a number of them in the top cuts. The same story can be said for the seniors division, but this list is a mash. We're also throwing in early game Joltik, Iron Hands as a potential threat, Pikachu EX as a threat as well. I'm trying to coin the new name for this deck. I'm calling it Cash in Hand. What do you think?
You are a bit of a master of merging decks together. You've tried it in the past, but no one has been as successful as Fuguan has here, taking down many Gholdengo. In fact, through rounds 2 to 5, went through the Gholdengo gauntlet and took down 4 in a row. And on the other side, Gabriel Fernandez has faced off against 4 himself. So interesting storyline here. We've got 2 decks, Gholdengo, Joltik box merged together for Fuguan. Gabriel Fernandez has beaten both Joltik box and Gholdengo on the route to this final.
It's just that merge, that combination that's going to be more dangerous perhaps with Fuguan having that early game aggression at the disposal, especially because that can take on the Toadstool so effectively with only 120 hit points. Perfect math for the Ampu, very much an attack that I'm sure our players have heard throughout the season. It's been such a ever-present Pokemon in our TCG. And as you said, Mike, it's a combination of Fuguan, who is undefeated in the tournament, up against Gabriel, who's been essentially undefeated the entire season, to be honest with you, getting 4 regional victories and the Grand Slam, all 3 international championship victories this season. The crowning achievement awaits. Already a world champion in Yokohama, picked up another Pikachu trophy with a top 4 in Honolulu, is now back on the final stage, trying to become a 2-time world champion.
Yeah, that is quite the achievement. No one's done it quite like Jason Kaczynski in the past, but Gabriel Fernandez could be the one to make history in many ways today. And on the other side, Fuguan Liao, our first world's finalist in the TCG from mainland China, only introduced in 2024 season, making their way all the way here. And both players have shuffled their decks, taken their first hand, put their active Pokemons out, and we're just getting ready for that start. I'm sure this is one of the most anticipated finals of the day. History will be made here.
About to see some prize cards coming out already. I saw Gabriel looking up at the heavens, possibly frustrated with that opening hand. Let's see if there's any jeopardy here. Well, Mike, I see a couple of one-off Pokemon already in the prizes for Fuguan. That's a 1 copy of the Miraidon EX tandem unit, one of the easiest ways that you can grab both Iron Hands in addition to Joltik on those opening stages. Also a couple of those supporter cards that can help you get into the early Jolting charge attack. And for Gabriel, one of the few Pokemon that can reach knockouts cleanly onto Fuguan's EX Pokemon, that Blood Moon Ursa Luna EX in the prizes as well.
Typically only attacking at the end of the game, right at the top of those prize cards. Might not see it this game, but our players are ready. Are you guys ready in the crowd? Well, we've been anticipating it all through the season. The perfect season from Gabriel Fernandez. All 3 ICs won by him. 4 regional champions, even went to locals and won 4 cups and 4 challenges, looking to try and complete the perfect season. And here it is. The players begin as we begin our Seniors Worlds Final.
We have the fist bump, we have the draw for the foot turn. It looks like Fuguan has been forced first here with a Genesect EX in the active position. A phenomenal new inclusion from the Black Bolt set with that metallic signal. We also see early game Bull Search and a Gimme Ghoul to boot. So a pretty decent opener here for Fuguan.
Yeah, looking for those Bull Search cards. Nest Ball featuring in many of the top decks, allowing you to find a basic Pokemon and put it straight onto your bench. 2 in the hand there for Fuguan. And we'll look to try and find the Gimme Ghouls, as well as that potential Miraidon, which he's now going to find is in the prize cards.
Fortunately, a couple of Nest Ball actually in this hand, so he still can go the long way about things. I think there's even the Brock Scouting in hand for next turn as well, which would open up the door for the likes of the Latias EX with that Skyliner to move the 2 retreat cost Genesect EX. So we can start developing a few of these basics, and even without the Miraidon EX, it looks like the hand is strong enough that we should be working towards a Jolting charge. It's basically the only way this deck gets into the game. It's not like a regular Gholdengo EX deck where you can try and find that Energy Search Pro very early on. This build is quite different. The A-Spec is the Prime Catcher. So typically you try and flood your energy early with a Joltik. You allow your Lightning Pokemon to get knocked out, and then you use Superior Energy Retrieval throughout the game to reload with your Gholdengo EX. So quite different flow to a regular Gholdengo deck.
Now we see Fuguan's lucky Charizard on the table with him. His favorite Pokemon has brought it here to the world stage, and will have just completed that prize check. How important is prize checking for these players in those pressure moments?
Well, we've already seen a few pressure moments in that junior division, so no doubt you want to be caught in a strange situation based on something you didn't check. That information's free to you. You may as well take the time to do it, especially because we know that Fuguan has quite a fast deck and plenty of time in our finals. Why wouldn't you put a little bit of thought into what is remaining when you're constantly able to search cards, and also towards what you're drawing with Gholdengo throughout the game? As we pass the action over to Gabriel, let's see that opening hand. We have the turn 1 Arven. This is a phenomenal supporter card in Gabriel's deck, allowing us to get early access to Ball Search cards. In addition to that, we have some phenomenal tools, Mike.
Yeah, Arven allowing you to search for 1 item card and 1 tool card from your deck, introduced in Obsidian Flames right near the beginning of the Scarlet and Violet era, and it has remained a consistent card, especially in these evolving decks, as the TM Evolution is a great way to get things set up early on, and I'm sure we'll see Gabriel using it many a time in this final.
Combination would mean an energy in hand or a ball searching card, and then the Arvin can find the other pieces alongside that technical machine evolution. So a Buddy Poffin to get a couple Zorua would mean that we could end our turn on 2 N Zoroark EX, exactly where you want to be as Gabrielle, because not only is the N Zoroark EX one of your early game attacking options, but also it's the way that you draw through your deck, and already we're seeing Gabrielle look through their prize cards. One of the cards already on top of that deck is that Toad School, because there is that Toad Scroll tech card in the list, Mike.
Yeah, the Slime Mold Colony has helped Gabrielle take down all the Gholdengo in the tournament, but this is a different matchup, as that superior energy retrieval in Gholdengo is not the only way to attack. So we'll shut that down, as well as the Levincia in the deck.
Right.
But there are other ways to attack thanks to the Iron Hands. And so Fuguan will find another way, and that's why that Joltik has been the target early on. But Gabrielle, including this Toad Scroll, is a great decision coming into the tournament.
Especially when you've seen how many he's had to face on his route to the final, beating Gholdengo in the top 8 and top 4 matches. This is slightly different, so some different challenges going on in this finals. In his top 4, he had to navigate a Cornerstone Mask Ogerpon EX and had to position quite carefully, using his Monkey Dory and whatnot. I think it was actually a scratch attack from an Enzarua, which closed him out the way to this final, with a Binding Mochi tool in the list. As we're going through those final actions of this turn number 1 from Gabrielle, it looks like we are lining up. There's an Earthen Vessel now to grab some Darkness Energy. It is.
So our 2023 World Champion, Gabrielle, has come here to try and make it too, but in this situation, he's come up with an unusual deck that many will not be ready for, but he's up against something a little bit unusual on the other side. That Joltik box combined with Gholdengo is not something he necessarily would have prepared for, and we got a chance to chat to him before, and he thinks it's a pretty even matchup, so this will be a very skill-heavy matchup between our 2 seniors here.
Yeah, you would think a regular Gholdengo EX deck is much more routine. You can have that breathing room when the Toad Scroll is in play, and even if the Gholdengo is choosing to take it out, that's a single prize knockout, which typically doesn't help them in their prize map. But in this instance, an Iron Hands EX, it has a lot of hit points. It's difficult for a Zoroark EX to punish early on, but also that Ampy very much can brute force through some 2 prize knockouts, even on these lower hit point Pokemon. Yeah,
when Iron Hands EX came into the format back in LEIC a few years back, it was the star of the show, a fan favorite that amped you very much, a very powerful attack, and one of the main reasons why Joltik box has been included in this Gholdengo, allowing you to do what Gholdengo cannot at the start of the game. And that Genesect EX in the active spot has been a fundamental part of why Gholdengo has been so popular here. Metallic Signal, such a powerful ability.
Now we need to search for 2 Metal Evolution Pokemon immediately, as we see the support of the turn, that Brock Scouting. That will grant access to a Pikachu EX in addition to a Latias EX, it looks like. So rather than the Iron Hands EX, there's also this attacking option, Mike. We know the Resolute Heart is a very frustrating ability to get around for certain archetypes. Gabrielle's is one of those, so the Pikachu EX can quite confidently put a huge number of energy on it, all from this Joltik. And we're even searching some metal energy out as well here, Mike, from the Earthen Vessel. This Pikachu EX can run riot on a board, and it doesn't have to be concerned with Toad Scroll either.
Many of you will be very familiar with this Pikachu EX, a very popular Pokemon, a very popular card, and that ability has allowed it to sustain an aggressive deck like Joltik Box and like this deck here today. 300 damage, a great number into these stage 1 archetypes like Zoroark, and I'm sure Fuguan has been using it into the Gholdengos throughout the tournament. And that Latias EX with the Skyliner ability, allowing all the basics to retreat for free. And the Joltik will be in the active spot. Jolting Charge, allowing Fuguan to put 2 Lightning and 2 Grass Energy from his deck onto any of his Pokemon. A very powerful way to set things up.
I love this turn 1, spending your energy attachment as metal onto the Pikachu EX, knowing that the Jolting Charge can pull out 2 Lightning and 2 Grass Energy onto your Pokemon in any way that you like. Such a versatile attack. That's the only use of the Joltik in this list. There's no Galvantula in this instance, which you would see in more traditional builds of Joltik Box, but we don't necessarily have the space in this build to go for that. So instead, we're going to put 3 energy onto the Iron Hands EX, and looking at floating the Lightning onto the Pikachu EX. It's going to be all 4 energy from Fuguan going towards the Iron Hands. Now, you still have 1 Hikyo threatened via your Gholdengo EX, so you can go down this direction and allow your Pikachu to be more of a late-game sweep option.
Well, we're going to see the Iron Hands EX powered up, but if there's no Pokemon on Gabrielle's side with 120 HP or less, it's going to be tough to utilize that Ampy very much. The Pikachu EX will be a viable option at some point during this game, and that's why these decisions are so tough for someone like Fuguan in this moment. A lack of familiarity with this unusual pick from Gabrielle and Zoroark, it's going to be really tough to navigate it here.
Stop me if you've heard this one before. The ability Trade, allowing you to discard 1 card from the hand and draw 2. Such a phenomenal ability that allows you to cycle away cards that you don't need right now, or also fuel your discard pile for resources later, all the while you're drawing 2, and that's such a great effect, especially from stage 1 Pokemon. Gabrielle opting to evolve his active Ens Zoroark as well now. Just 1 energy attachment and an Ens Reshiram away from using that Night Joker attack to begin putting on the pressure here.
Yeah, those trades have been so key for Ens Zoroark throughout the tournament. One of the most consistent cards in the format once set up. Gholdengo on the other side has been touting that with the coin bonus, but being able to see 2 cards just for 1 discard, often that discard being a benefit, is a great way to get through your deck nice and fast. And that double darkness attack, Night Joker in the active, does nothing unless there's a Pokemon with N in its name on the bench to attack with, and that would be the Ens Reshiram, which we don't see currently, but Gabrielle will be looking to try and find it right now.
We have one more trade. It's a tough debate. I think there is a counter catcher that might be discarded here. I see a couple more cards. No supporter just yet. We do have a nest ball coming down now, though.
Wow, that nest ball coming in so clutch there. The Ends Reshiram, a basic Pokemon searched and put onto the bench. And now that Night Joker can copy either Virtuous Flame, or if the End Zoroark has some damage on it, the Powerful Rage. Well, what a moment to start the thing off here. We've got all three of the End Zoroark on setup, and the Ends Reshiram waiting to take the first knockout here in our Seniors World Final, and it will be Gabriel Fernandez.
A decent start, Mike. It's just a single prize knockout, though, and I think from this stage on, Fuguan might look to just keep this board of multi-prize Pokemon. The one prize KO means that Fuguan can't put down additional Gimmighoul without some sort of major drawback, and I think that's what Gabriel's going for here with the single prize KO, trying to say that at some point my win condition might involve INO, so I want to try and stop my opponent from having access to too many Gholdengo EX to still coin bonus their way towards any combination.
Wow, and another Joltik coming down. One of the huge benefits of that Joltik box archetype is the singular Joltik in play is just a one prizer, nothing to worry about, but you can see how vital it is for Fuguan to get all that energy in play and set up all those attackers, as End Zoroark can't really knock out much on this board, can only hit for 170 with the Night Joker copying the Ends Reshiram, so all of these big basic Pokemon EX are safe from a knockout.
Using an Arven here as our supporter card for the turn, I only saw one energy available right now, with no easy targets for that Iron Hands. It's looking like a tough turn. If we'd floated one Lightning Energy to the Pikachu EX or one of those Grass Energy, we could have had an easy route to take a KO, but we could be holding back on that Topaz Bolt, knowing that it's such a late-game great option. So we're actually going to go back into the Joltik here instead, and just go for another Jolting Charge.
Well, here we go, another Jolting Charge, and you mentioned about that knockout. You've got to be worried about the A-spec of Gabriel, the unfair stamp that requires a knockout to be taken and can be very disruptive in these early turns. And so maybe this was the game plan that Fuguan prepared with his friends. We heard that he had some practice into this exact deck. A complete difference here in the finals we see at Pokemon, where you can practice exactly what you're going to be playing against the next day, and I'm sure they've been thinking through all the different lines, and it seems like the double Jolting Charge is the line Fuguan has gone for.
We're over-attaching to the Pikachu EX. The Topaz Bolt only requires 3 energy, but it does discard 3 energy as well. So by having 4 energy on, we can then keep manually attaching up to continue to chain this Topaz Bolt attack. We're basically trying to make the Toedscruel a non-factor in this instance, Mike, so that we don't rely on that Make-It Rain to be our late-game win condition.
Well, nothing much for Gabriel to do here other than swing into that Joltik, but we'll be looking to stabilize throughout the game, and that's the advantage of the trade. You can discard all those cards you don't ever see again, but also start finding those powerful one-off cards like the Unfair Stamp, the Professor Turo scenario, these options that you want to be sprinkling in at the right moment. The more of them you have in your hand, the more options you have in those vital turns.
And I think we will still have to work towards a Toedscruel. It's just about the timing for Gabriel. That's what he has to get absolutely perfectly in this game number 1 here. One of them will be discarded. It's a 2-1 line, so don't be too panicked just yet. We do have additional Darkness Energy. Keeping up on attachments is really important maintenance here for Gabriel as well. It feels like we could easily be going up a second prize here. Be quite content still with the board overall, knowing that we're gripping the Unfair Stamp.
You know that TM evolution will be possible to get the Toedscruel out in a single turn. It won't have to sit in play for long. So there are those options to think about. And on the other side, Fuguan, our only undefeated player in seniors. Gabriel Fernandez did sustain a loss in the Swiss to Raging Bolt EX, but in this final moment, it doesn't matter. All that matters now is one match to find out who will be the world champion here in Anaheim.
Gabriel will be using his support for the turn on an Arven. One of these situations where you didn't have much else to do, so instead we'll grab some resources for a future turn. In this case, it's going to be the energy switch. Already holding on to some Nest Ball and some other options, as we have a massive hand size. You have to expect Gabriel to be constantly holding on to plenty of cards with the amount of trade on the board, and with Fuguan not having access to any hand disruption whatsoever. Gabriel's in complete control of how many cards he has.
We know that Toedscruel will come down at some point. Now, there is a number that's very important on that Toedscruel that we'll be looking at as we go forward, but Gabriel taking a knockout there on the Joltik, and now it is on Fuguan to look to respond with a knockout. 2 prizes ahead for Gabriel, but do not count out Fuguan. He's gone for the setup.
Typically, you would expect the Joltik Gholdengo deck to go ahead and at least attempt to, allowing 1 knockout on the Joltik perhaps, but I really like the setup from Fuguan here. Opens up the space to bench a Gimmighoul this turn pretty reliably. Has an easy knockout lined up already with the Pikachu without access to any other cards required just yet. We also see the Air Balloon attached to the Gholdengo EX now, making that coin bonus an even more effective draw engine, in addition to a Flip the Script now from a Pheasantipity EX. Having suffered a KO on the previous turn, you can now draw 3 additional cards. And we have a superior energy retrieval. I do like the use of this proactively, knowing that you shouldn't have too much difficulty to reach when you need to, and getting any manual attachment at this stage onto Pikachu EX seems really valuable, and it's actually going to be alongside a Bravery Charm as well here.
Well, that Iron Hands EX is sitting on the bench, and we mentioned earlier on how it wouldn't have a target on the board. The End Zoroark on the other side is 280 HP, is out of range. The Pikachu is the attacker there, but why is that Iron Hands on the bench such a worry for Gabriel as the Pikachu comes forward to take a knockout?
You're trying to starve your opponent from putting down that Toedscruel combination. At any point, Fuguan can then capitalize and pounce and take an easy 2 prize knockout. Gabriel is aware of that, so it also keeps the Gholdengo EX open as an attacking option, especially as we start to throw these energy in the discard pile with Topaz Bolt here, and taking a big 2-prize swing.
Topaz Bolt, a hard attack cost to get, a grass, a lightning, and a metal energy. But on this occasion, it will take the knockout on the end Zoroark for 300 damage. Pikachu taking 1.
Passing action back over to Gabriel now in a tough position. The board doesn't look easy to navigate here. There is a dark, weak Latias EX you can try and target down this turn if you would like. You could go down to 2 prize cards remaining yourself. And then you can try and pivot your attacking options towards the likes of a Petrarunt EX with its irritated outburst attack that can get stronger in the late game, or the Blood Moon Ursaluna EX that can combine with Binding Mochi to take knockouts on even very high hit point Pokemon, including that Gholdengo EX. So I think that's what Gabriel has to do in this instance. He's ahead in the race. There's an easy 2-prize Pokemon that he can look to take out with Night Joker this turn. That could be his means of closing here. I actually think his positioning, provided he can work towards energy switch combinations, possibly even Janine's Secret Art as a decent choice during the game, could be a way for him to weave in a late-game Petrarunt EX sweep.
So those first 2 prize cards could be key for Gabriel, and that Pheasantipity EX mirrored on the other side by Gabriel. So much draw on board, trade on the end Zoroark, combined with that flip the script, which could only be used after one of your Pokemon was knocked out. Seen in pretty much all of our top decks, a great way to come back into the game after a knockout is sustained. And those energy attachments, nice and simple, just 2 dark energy onto the end Zoroark. And right now we'll really need to see that Gust option, that boss's orders, which is so key in the format.
I know that we've been mentioning this unfair stamp, but honestly with Gabriel, with enough pieces in the hand right now, maybe looking just to hold everything, if he can work towards a sort of checkmate situation on the final turn of the game, it could be a decent line for him. Now is the time to grab our Toadstool by the looks of things. We're going to try and weave this in, force one into a strange spot. Zoroark is a threatening attacker. It has the energy that could be E-switched off onto other threats. But at the same time, that Toadstool could be so awkward, and now we're going to see the Petrarunt EX. We know this is definitely in Gabriel's thinking for his end game. We actually see the Binding Mochi attached to the active into the End's castle. We're going into the End's Reshiram here. Then we're going to be poisoning our own Pokemon with subjugating chains. It's going to be increasing the damage output with End Zoroark. Poison normally a downside to this status condition, but in this instance, thanks to the Binding Mochi, we're going to be buffing our damage output by 40, procking the Resolute Heart of this Pikachu. No, we have the boss's orders instead. It gets even better for Gabriel here. We'll be able to pick up the draw engine, but also keeping all this energy around so there's not the threat of a Gholdengo attack.
We said that 170 damage is the peak limit with End's Reshiram's attack, but when you have the Binding Mochi and the Poison, it allows you to reach that perfect number of 210 hit points, which, as we mentioned, Pheasantipity EX in pretty much every deck. So what better way to find it than the Binding Mochi combination? And there's multiple ways to set it up. We have the Janine's Secret Art as well as that Petrarunt. And there we go, the ending of this turn with an unfair stamp. The Ace Spec and Gabriel using the boss's orders in conjunction with some disruption, taking out the draw engine, and Gabriel looking to really storm ahead in this vital knockout.
Gabriel will get 5 cards here from the unfair stamp, plus the flip the script as well, don't forget. So we'll be ending on a catalogue of cards going into that final turn. We'll be looking to try and close out the game with that Petrarunt, no doubt. That's if Fuguan can keep up here. There's no guarantees with just the 2-card hand. Even with the coin bonus in the active position after this Pheasantipity is knocked out, it's not guaranteed that there's going to be a backup Pikachu play or even an Iron Hands with a Gusting card.
Just so much done in this turn. Really setting up Gabriel for the next turn. The knockout on the active, the hand looking pretty weak on the other side, and that Gholdengo is going to have to pull some levers with that coin bonus as we draw another Buddy Buddy Poffin. That's not quite going to do it, but it will help set up a little more, and this is why that Pikachu, having extra energy on it was so key, limiting the amount required this turn for a knockout, but it is really tough right now for Fuguan. The perfect turn for Gabriel preceding this one, and the draws will be big now. It's just 2 draws with that coin bonus when it's in the active spot. 2 cards can be enough in the Pokemon TCG, but will they be the 2 draws Fuguan needs?
This is massive, folks. Game number 1 of our Seniors Division Final. 2 draws from coin bonus.
Oh, is that a metal energy?
That's the right combination for Pikachu EX. This is going to come down to the wire. Pikachu threatening that knockout now. We'll be taking out all the energy from Gabriel off the board as well, forcing him in a situation to use Janine's Secret Art alongside Petrarunt EX. But also that Resolute Heart of Pikachu makes it so difficult to knock out into those final stages. Fuguan going down to 2 prize cards.
Topaz Bolt for 300 damage, and End Zoroark flies to the discard pile. Now Gabriel will have to find a way to respond. The disruption didn't work, but now the draws to find the win. Can he do it? It's a big turn ahead.
We can't find victory here. There is defensive opportunities as well. Have means of picking up our Toadstool with Professor Turo's Scenario, and then we'd be out of range of the Amp You Very Much final couple prizes. That's the only Pokemon currently sat on board with energy. We'd then be forcing a Gusting effect. No, even then, it's a tough situation. But Gabriel has to work towards their couple last prizes too here. With no energy in play, it's tough.
Yeah, that Pikachu EX, the Resolute Heart, really denying a knockout at this moment. Also the Bravery Charm, putting up to 250 HP, helps a little bit. But being able to deny a one-hit knockout forces so many resources out of Gabrielle. You can only play one supporter per turn, so the Janine Secret Art in combination with the boss's orders isn't possible. The counter catcher isn't live right now. They are equal on prize cards. And what you just mentioned, that defensive play, has been initiated.
That's what we have to do here. Gabriel can now slowly attach to his Pecharunt EX and look to have a gusting supporter on the next turn to win the game, hoping that Fuguan has no outs to close here. Not impossible, though. We could try and get a Gholdengo EX attacking, and it could close out the win.
This is where that synergy comes in. The Gholdengo EX, the finisher, when you have all that energy in the discard pile, the superior energy retrievals on the other side will be possible, and promoting the ends Reshiram, forcing even more. And this is the kind of positional play we see at the highest level of Pokemon TCG. Defensive positions where you're waiting for your turn, next turn, asking questions while you set up. And Gabriel Fernandez, one of the best at that in the game. That's why he played decks like this. Charizard EX previously, the kind of decks where he can dictate the pace of the play.
If you can't win on this turn, make it difficult for your opponent too. And in this case, Gabriel is forcing Fuguan into a means of moving this Pikachu. We have the Latias to do that. But then the coin bonus would have to find a combination of superior energy retrievals and gusting effects to make it happen.
Well, boss's orders going back in the deck. The card came out back in Rebel Clash over 5 years ago. A very powerful card and has been so in the format for a while now. Throughout the Scarlet and Violet era, it's been a key component of many of these decks. Palpad, a familiar face for those who've played the TCG a while, putting it back into the deck, and now we see that turn of Gabriel setting up, just passing back to Fuguan. It's his chance now to try and win the game. Does he have it in hand? Will he draw into it?
We've drawn the boss's orders. That means we're just a few energy away with 2 coin bonuses, one of which can draw the maximum 2 cards, giving us outs towards superior. We need more than just one, though. We have to find superior in addition to an extra energy. 5 is the combination here to knock out that Pecharunt EX. Only having 190 hit points, so we have to manually attach to our Gholdengo EX, as well as find a superior here. We're going to use the Pokegear first to thin the deck, hopefully, of a supporter card, knowing that Boss's Orders is already their best option. And then we have some big coin bonuses, Mike.
You'll have to see the Rocket's Petrol there.
It's a one-of in the list, a 5th Arven, if you will.
Just getting that one out to thin it. Not the supporter required this turn to win. The boss's orders that's in hand waiting there. And now 3 cards from the Gholdengo to draw into superior energy retrieval and something like a Night Stretcher or a Levincia to complete the combination. And it will be that Gholdengo in the active, ready to swing in just a moment.
Coin bonus.
Is it there? Earthen Vessel?
Earthen Vessel could easily be a piece here, Mike. We can thin any energy of the deck. I know we thinned plenty with those early Joltik. Are there any remaining in the deck, or is it just one draw? I don't think one draw does it, unless Earthen Vessel has any energy remaining in the deck.
Well, I think that's going to be the case now. You've got to check those energy in the discard pile.
We can search with Genesect EX. We have the option to look at the deck now.
Just give it one last check over, and it will be the Earthen Vessel here. Are there any energy in the deck? There is the Metal Energy, so a draw to get 1 card in the deck. Superior energy retrieval has to be found here off of 1 card. Coin bonus coming clutch.
Go EX so often looking towards this card to close the game. It's superior or bust here. You have to imagine Gabriel has the winning combination on the next turn if it's not found from this 1 draw from the bench Gholdengo EX.
Just checking, always important to check. 190 hit points on that Pecharunt EX. That will be what it takes for the knockout here. Oh, tense moment right here, Joe.
This is everything we're going. Is there any other option before we have this 1 card draw? I don't see it. We need the boss's orders as a supporter to push the ends Reshiram out the way, so it has to be superior, and it has to be now.
Just working out what to do. Is it better to Arven now, play it safe, rely on the missed opportunity here? There is the Prime Catcher.
Prime Catcher play instead here.
Well, that would guarantee more draw as well. 2 draw from that coin bonus. Great vision here from Fuguan. Not only will that thin a card that's not superior energy retrieval out the deck, but it will give you an extra 2 cards. So going to commit to the play at this moment.
That's why Fuguan's in the finals. We're not. We were thinking it was just 1 card. Now we get to see 2 to find that superior to close the game. Holding on to that ace spec has been so vital to keep these outs open. They've been held the entire time to keep Iron Hands EX as a threat, but now the Gholdengo could make it rain. 1 additional card here. We've already spent the retreat, but the Prime Catcher allows us to push away the Gholdengo EX.
Oh, I need to shuffle my deck more. No.
Just confirming here with the players, making sure everything is done fairly. In these tense moments, this is something we often see in the Pokemon TCG. You could think for hours about every decision in these high-pressure moments, but the players will be looking to try and conclude the game in either of their next turns, whether it's now for Fuguan or Gabriel will look to try and do it next turn. And it will be that Prime Catcher committing to the play, needs to draw 2 from this next coin bonus. Gholdengo from the bench into the active. Will it be now, Fuguan?
The chips are all in the middle. Let's see 2 cards.
Oh!
Oh my goodness.
Not sure what's happened there. That is an unfortunate moment. That is the superior energy retrieval, but not how you want to see it at this moment. Fuguan will just be waiting now to find out from the judges how we pan things out.
Talk about suspense. You have to understand, folks, this is going to take a while to sort out, no doubt about it, but what a high-pressure situation. Something no one expected to see. A face-up superior. I'm sure this can be resolved with the judges. As we were shuffling, give us a moment and we'll keep you as up-to-date as possible, but this is this moment in the game number 1 of the seniors finals. Fuguan staring down 1 draw to win this game number 1. It's only the superior energy retrieval that can do it. And make it rain, knocking out this low hit point Petra on TX is his route. He played so well on this final turn to identify the Arven as the better option than the boss's orders. To thin a couple cards, give himself maximum outs. We know that Gabriel, with access to a couple of trade, should have an easy means of closing the game. Just the one Zoroark TX in play, I should say, but with so many cards already in the hand and so few in the deck, he should have an easy means of winning this game if Fuguan cannot find it.
Well, Anaheim, we're just going to take a moment here, but I want to find out who you guys are supporting. If you're behind Fuguan Liao, cheer for me now! And if you want to see the perfect season complete, Gabriel Fernandez, make some noise! I'm sure these players are feeling the tension, as all of you are in the crowd. A lot of history going to be made today in our Seniors World Final. Whether it is that perfect season from Gabriel, or whether it's Fuguan in the 2nd season of mainland China, competing at the World Championship, taking that victory, and so much to adapt for them in the tournament structure out here at the World Championship. So much on the line. We're talking about a huge opportunity to win prize money, to win the playmat, the coveted playmat, you know, the promo card and that Pikachu trophy. And I'm sure these players right now are just focusing on the Pokemon itself.
Not to mention the history, the acclaim. Both players have played so well in this game number 1. Just to remind you, just tuning in, we are under a judge review right now on this final turn by the looks of things from Fuguan. Just trying to sort out how the card was flipped during a shuffle. We'll get that information to you as quickly as we can, but right now Fuguan is right on the edge of winning this game number 1. If he can find the winning card, which would be that superior energy retrieval. Gabriel Fernandez has been on this final table before, is already a world champion. 2 years ago, had to sit and watch in the stands last year. Only getting that top 4. Still walked away with a Pikachu trophy, mind you, so it's not bad.
Another one for the collection
Another
today.
one for the collection. Had the most impressive season of any player. A Grand Slam, 3 international championship victories, 4 victories at regionals.
Only needed 2 for the perfect season as well.
Exactly, so wiped out his own regional victories, which is absurd to say, for his championship point total, capping out the maximum. Gabriel truly is a prodigy. One of the best players we've ever seen, regardless of division.
And will be in the Masters division next season, already competing in challenges and cups. A scary sight for many. I mean, in our Masters final, we have a senior who has aged up.
Right.
It shows you how strong these seniors are. You know, the coaching, the support, and for Gabriel, he's got his brother to test with and improve. And Fuguan, an incredible feat to be coming here at the 2nd season his region has been able to compete. And there it will be. The superior energy retrieval has been found in those 2 cards. And we'll be able to take the knockout as we return back into the game. Everybody, Fuguan is game 1's victor.
Talk about drama. Game number 1, a match win for Fuguan, expertly played. Using Joltik back-to-back to power up not only the Iron Hands, keeping that in a threat in the back for the entire game, trying to put a check, a pin, on the opportunity for a Toedscruel or Toedscruel. Gabriel found the spot to Turo up that Pokemon and put himself in a reasonable shot of still closing out that game. The unfair stamp, the flip the script, he was able to hold the majority of his deck to close out game on the next turn. But Fuguan, with coin bonus at his side, was able to pick up the crucial pieces to close out that game number 1.
Well, that metal energy in the middle of the game was the vital corner piece to take you through to the victory, and it was those decisions early on to set up more and attack less from Fuguan that took him to the victory. Gabriel took the first 2 knockouts onto Joltik's and was able to set up for the knockout on the Pheasantipity, a prime target for many of these decks, to take away the draw from Flip the Script, and it was with that poison package he was able to do so.
Yeah, such a vital one-off inclusion, allowing the Zoroark, which typically is known for having weak damage output, being in range of the Pheasantipity, combining it with the unfair stamp as well. It felt like timing was crucial for both players in the game. Gabriel gave himself this window of opportunity. There was no guarantee of a Pikachu response KO here. There was a big coin bonus that helped out Fuguan find a back-to-back Pikachu. Here was the draw. The Metal Energy found from the Gholdengo EX into the Pikachu. 2nd Topaz Bolt in a row. Gabriel identified his safest routes on his turn. Try and set himself up for game on the next turn whilst picking up his only liability, forcing Fuguan to have all sorts.
I mean, we thought that Boss's Orders was the top deck, but Fuguan found another route. Arven for the Prime Catcher, but it was him who won it in the end. And as we're about to kick off into our next game, make sure you get involved on Pokemon Trading Card Game Live and get your hands on some of these amazing artworks using that code WCS25TCGL. But our players are ready on the stage, and I'm sure you guys want to see whether history will go towards Fuguan or to the other side, and that's not the best start we see.
One with the attach pass into the Iron Hands EX as that starting Pokemon. Gabriel Fernandez with the Toad School. Cool guy, if you ask me. Has been one of the mascots of this World Championships here in Anaheim, rolling around on those roller skates and kicks things off with a buddy pop-in as well to get a couple of those ends at Zorua down quick sharp as we start to see some prize cards. The Pal Pad and the Super Odd, some reloading options which can be handy. Also the second copy of the Toad School in the prize cards as well. I mean, Gabriel has to try and keep track of this one and keep it as safe as possible, knowing that it's a great Stage 1 Pokemon that can evolve up and slow down the Gholdengo EX opportunities.
Well, Toad School did not have a factor in the last game. It didn't come out and protect the recovery of energy that we saw at the end with superior energy retrieval, and it was the Iron Hands EX we see him play for Fuguan that blocked that off and meant it wasn't possible.
Gabriel doing his routine deck searches here. Got to keep calm in these instances. Gabriel has been in these spots before. The pressure cooker is no surprise to him. Something that he has to be used to. That's the price of success for Gabriel. So he is still going through those motions, trying to keep a level head, knowing that he did all he could in that game number 1, put himself in a great position. Couldn't quite close out those final few turns. He still has to employ a similar strategy, you would think, as he did in that game number 1, possibly finding access to that Toad Scroll quicker could be a little bit useful, but it still has the 120 hit points either way, so it's always in range of that Ampy very much. So we see a second buddy pop-in into the pass. Gabriel not able to have the great Arven Technical Machine evolution play he would have hoped for, but at least gets access to a few of these basic Pokemon, eyeing up for next turn.
Well, it was the energy last time that was limiting factor, not being able to get those attachments in early so that the final knockout was in range. So Fuguan will be eyeing up what's possible there. A Brock Scouting in hand, an Arven as well as a Boss, so supporter options available. And it will be something like that Brock Scouting that could be vital here to get multiple important Pokemon out in the same turn. Arven would not have been able to do so. A great inclusion in the deck, a card we saw come out and journey together and has been splashed about in some of our top decks.
And the Brock Scouting is excellent, specifically in this deck, because you can find essentially more than 2 Pokemon, because you grab Miraidon as one of those basic Pokemon choices, and then you immediately have the tandem unit. Also, Fuguan will be finding the bad news of these prize cards, because, Mike, there's 2 Gholdengo EX in the prizes right now, and he only plays 3 copies, so that could be a huge issue as we try and progress through the game. Fuguan was only able to win that game number 1 because he had multiple Gholdengo EX in play, coin bonusing towards the win. That could be a huge challenge for him in this game too.
You mentioned how important these 2 archetypes, the Joltik box and the Gholdengo EX, were to combine together as they covered each other's weaknesses. One of the weaknesses of Joltik box is the lack of draw. So the coin bonus coming through for the Gholdengo EX allows the deck to continually draw throughout the game and helps in those vital moments, as we saw last time, to find the key pieces to close out the game. And Miraidon, tandem unit, an amazing ability, one of the first cards we saw in the Scarlet and Violet era, and it has been able to show its power throughout its tenure.
It's like not opting to grab the Pikachu EX in this instance, and we'll just be powering up the Iron Hands, you would think, with the Jolting charge. Pikachu EX was so vital in that game number 1, but not found in this case. Instead, it's going to be loading up Iron Hands, possibly some energy to the Miraidon EX itself as well, and threaten the Pheasantipity EX, as well as the Pecharunt EX, so it can be a decent backup option.
Yeah, and we see the instant evolution on the other side from Gabriel. The draw engine has started, and the energy will just be attached now by Fuguan to complete the action of that Jolting charge. The 2 lightning and the 2 grass splattered about all over those Pokemon. Miraidon prepping for an attack in the future as Zoroark will be beginning the draw.
We have a couple Zoroark already, which is fantastic. Getting us trading is exactly what Gabriel wants to see. So it makes up for the fact that there was no TM evolution early on here. And begin seeing more of this deck. Getting rid of another buddy pop-in. Starting to work towards some sports cards. We've got to try and move this Toad School. It's actually one of the more difficult Pokemon to retreat because it's not able to be reduced by the Ends Castle that's just been thrown into play here. So we will see a fresh 6 cards from Ino before making any other action.
Yeah, the Ino, a key card in many decks, early on allows you to filter through your deck. You shuffle your hand and put it on the bottom of your deck and draw cards equal to the number of prize cards remaining. So early on that will be close to 6. Towards the end you can force your opponent to have 1, 2 or 3 card hands. And it will just be a pass there. No tempo from Gabriel like we saw in the first game, and will be offering Fuguan the opportunity to race away with this. That target in the active, weak to Iron Hands EX, and Iron Hands EX is able to defend against all of the attacks on Gabriel's side until the end of the game.
This is looking very promising for Fuguan here, although we do know that he'd like to go slower in that game number 1. But we are seeing the tandem unit just to shuffle the deck. This is a heads-up play, knowing that you've been hit with an INO on the previous turn. You'd like to have access to some of the cards that were just thrown to the bottom of the deck. But that indicates we're not going to be going for a Jolting Charge, powering up a Pikachu slowly, unless it's already in the hand. Instead, it's going to be a Boss's Orders, bringing up an Enzarua here. It's going to be, by the looks of things, the Skyliner allowing us to retreat this Joltik freely straight into the Iron Hands EX, threatening that huge Amp You Very Much. Another 2-prize knockout now. Vital text on that Amp You Very Much, and Fuguan races ahead.
Iron Hands EX taking 2 prize cards from a 1 prize card Pokemon. It's now all on Gabriel to try and restabilize and take the game back. The Toedscruel is in play, but no energy is in the discard pile at this point. Fuguan is in a prime position to keep running away with this. What can you do at this point, Gabriel? Show us that world champion ability you showed so well in Yokohama.
Step 1 seems to be Unfair Stamp, immediately searched from the Arven here, in addition to the Binding Mochi tool card. So Gabriel is unlikely to be launching any attack here. Your energy acceleration, not the Ends PP up that you would sometimes see in traditional builds of the End Zoroark. Instead, it's going to be supporter-based acceleration. So we're actually just going to be spending an attachment on the bench and seeing a fresh 5 cards for Gabriel. Just 2 for Fuguan, who, crucially in this case, doesn't have access to any Gholdengo EX.
No draw on board, so those 2 cards will likely be the only cards, plus the draw for turn for Fuguan in the next. And that Unfair Stamp, a great card seen in many of the decks since it came out in Twilight Masquerade. The A-spec of choice in these decks that like to give up knockouts early on, Enzarok one of those. So a great decision from Gabriel to include it, and one that can punish decks just like Joltik Box.
Gabriel will have a few trades after these 5 cards, so still will be developing this hand, but his board position is still looking rather shoddy. No way great to retreat into, because Iron Hands can take out lower hit point Pokemon. You're just hoping to sponge right now with your active Zoroark EX and build toward a better turn here.
Well, the Janine's Secret Art would be a great find at this point, but I believe 1 is prized. So we'll make it harder to accelerate energy into play at this point. At the bottom of those prize cards, so you may see it after a knockout, but at this stage could be the difference between swinging this turn and not.
Gabriel hoping that this active Pokemon can be a decent sponge. I'm not sure anything else is worthwhile putting onto this board. We've already used our disruption and we're hoping for the best here. So we're just going to be passing things over. Fuguan has an easy turn lined up, to be fair. The Skyliner, if you can't take a knockout, you can go back into Joltik, then you can use Tandem Unit, grab that Pikachu and start loading up energy onto that Pokemon. So if Fuguan doesn't want to go aggressive, it doesn't have the hand to do so, he still could be developing his board.
Yeah, and with that Tandem Unit on the Miraidon, can even get the Pikachu out of this stage. So a wonderful position for Fuguan, looking incredibly dominant in this match. We know the matchup is one he's confident in. He said he's had the practice against the list. His friends helped him out, and he feels confident. And you can see exactly why. The lines are there, and he's followed them perfectly through these games. And on the other side, it's just not quite going as Gabriel would have planned, even though he's seeing so many cards with that trade.
Flip the script into the past then. Gabriel holding on to a ton of options. Already the Urban Vessel, the Superior Energy Retrieval. Not too much going on. I'd love to see Fuguan here go for a Pikachu EX search from that Tandem Unit. I feel like it's a great opportunity. Even with the Earthen Vessel in the hand, you can even search out some Metal Energy and begin manually attaching on top of your Jolting Charge.
So the Scarlet and Violet era of the Pokemon TCG, all in play here at the World Championship. Every set, from base set up to the Black Bolt and White Flare, and yet we see the combination of that Miraidon's Tandem Unit with a later card coming into the game. That Jolting Charge from the Joltik will be used right now to finish off the turn, and a setup turn from Fuguan, despite taking an early knockout, now just looking to stabilize.
Looking like those prizes are already mapped out for Fuguan. See a multi-prize Pokemon in the active, and go Pikachu EX. See a smaller single-prize Pokemon, you can hunt it down with Iron Hands. Fuguan happily 2 attacks away from closing the victory here. Gabriel with a mountain to climb. Kicks off his turn with an Earthen Vessel, discarding a Cleffa to grab a couple Darkness Energy. They've been elusive in those opening couple turns. And at least start launching back some pressure.
And it is at this point, you feel the pressure. When you've lost game 1 in a final, and you know you're on the back foot, you have to resolve some crazy scenarios, and who better to do it than Gabriel? Unfair Stamp didn't do enough. A turn for Fuguan to still set up just means these later turns are going to get harder and harder. The options will be reduced. Too many knockouts to take, and it is that energy full board on the other side, staring down the Enzarok that's not able to take a big knockout on many of these Pokemon. Only the Latias EX in range of that Enzarok, so needs a gust here, needs an attachment. Otherwise, it's going to be a single prize knockout on the active, which is not enough at this stage.
Feels like the only jeopardy for Fuguan is that there's no draw power at all on the board. Boss's Orders will bring up the Latias EX. This is the easiest means for Gabriel to take a 2-prize knockout, thanks to the dark weakness of Latias. We can freely retreat thanks to the Ends Castle into our Zoroark EX that we've been powering up over a couple of turns. Ends Reshiram that we can copy with our Night Joker attack, and we will be responding with a 2-prize knockout, leveling up game 2 of the Seniors Finals.
Incredible knockout from Gabriel, navigated the board well, hoping that Fuguan doesn't have a way back into this, but we know there's something in that hand that is so good at coming back into the game. We have an attacker ready to go. It's whether you can set up for future turns, and what better way to set up for future turns than a Pokegear top deck to start with. Find one of those vital supporters, but even that Pheasantipity EX to flip the script and draw 3 more cards. We said there's no draw engine on board, but it was sitting in the hand waiting to go.
Gabriel so often writing these scripts, been the hero of every story this season. One has been flipping the script and has now found Pheasantipity EX, in addition to a Buddy Poffin, can finally start looking to weave in some Gimme Ghoul here. Some semblance of draw power starting to come together as he works towards this late game. Pikachu EX already looking terrifying. Easy 2-prize knockout lined up. One then would just be looking towards Iron Hands to close the game on the Toadscruel on the bench of Gabriel, or can start looking once again towards a Gholdengo EX late game if Gabriel feels the pressure to pick up the Toadscruel as he did in game 1.
Well, we've got to bear in mind that Topaz Bolt will discard 3 energy for the knockout, 300 damage on the end Zoroark. Fuguan, 2 prize cards taken, 2 remain. Gabriel needs to navigate this end passage here perfectly. Does have great endgame options to attack with, whether it's that Petrunt EX or the Blood Moon Ursaluna, which was so unfortunately prized last game, and there it is. It's going to come down with the energy straight away.
Well, we see Nespal first. Going to go through the motions here. Gabriel, as we know, so clinical, making sure his outs are always in his favor. Nesballing out the Petrunt EX first here. As he said, Mike, there's already the Blood Moon Ursaluna plus energy combination. We can be taking out that Iron Hands EX. And when you take out Iron Hands EX, that's allowing you to keep your Toadscruel in play very safely. But it makes the Gholdengo EX far less of a threatening Pokemon, because no longer can Superior Energy Retrieval recover the energy that you're about to discard here. Gabriel's found a really good spot this game.
That counter catcher coming in here allows for a supporter for turn as well, so maybe even some disruption at this moment. Blood Moon Ursaluna, a great way to knock out. And that's going to be a scoop from Fuguan. Gabriel Fernandez takes game 2, and it's that relentless pressure from Blood Moon.
These are the moments, Mike, where champions reveal themselves. A game down in the finals. The pressure mounting. Fuguan with just 2 prize cards remaining. Gabriel found the perfect line, removing all the energy from play. The threat of the Iron Hands EX was looming. Gabriel picked it apart with the Blood Moon Ursaluna EX. So capably, thanks to that tech stage 1 Pokemon, the Toadscruel has been so vital to get him into the finals, as we see how it played out in this game number 2.
Well, the early turns looked perfect for Fuguan, taking a knockout not only on a 1-prize Pokemon, turning it into 2 with Thank You Very Much, but the Enzo Row before it evolved. And then we saw the return knockout on the Latias, and we could see a shimmer of hope for Gabriel as he navigated those 2-prize knockouts. But it was the energy dissolving from the play, the Topaz Bolt, later on not able to be returned as the Toadscruel sitting on the bench, so effective here at the tournament. Been a great tech card into Gholdengo, but on this occasion, it was taking out all those energy that meant there was no way to return them.
Yeah, I think the big issue there was an energy floated on Miraidon. There wasn't an easy way to chain Pikachu EX. That's what allowed Fuguan to get into such a great position in that game number 1 here. It made it too easy for Gabriel to nullify the threats of Gholdengo in the later stages whilst also taking out that threat of Iron Hands. So often in the Pokemon trading card game, it's about having a backup strategy for when your active Pokemon is knocked out, so that you have something to do on the following turn. But Gabriel able to neutralize one, knock out another, put him in a great closing board state. And Fuguan recognized that. Suddenly, we're moving on to a game 3 to decide our Senior Division World Champion.
As you can see there, Gabriel Fernandez did sustain a loss in the Swiss stage, but was able to beat 2 Joltik box and 4 Gholdengo. Now they're smushed together by Fuguan. Will he be able to take him down as a combination piece? Fuguan, however, unbeaten at the tournament so far. Will he be able to take the first TCG victory for mainland China, only 2 years into their addition to the World Championship?
I can only imagine the pressure at this stage, Mike. Game 1 was pressure enough. Game 2, Gabriel, what looked like the weaker start, ended up having the best outcome. Blood Moon Ursaluna being in the prize cards, of course, in game number 1, meant that he couldn't make the line he just did. So we're getting into the action in game number 3 here. Make some noise in the arena. No! It's an attached pass, Mike.
Attached pass for Gabriel Fernandez, just with that Petrunt EX in the active. Being forced to go first is a common state in this TCG. We often see players unable to set up well when they're going first. You need that supporter, which you can only play when going second. Whereas for Fuguan, he has the Miraidon EX in play. With that tandem unit, can start to set up the Joltik and power up those key attackers.
At the crucial moment, Gabriel with just 1 card in hand that was able to be played, and it was a Darkness Energy. Far from ideal. Starting a Miraidon EX, like you say, Mike, tandem unit means we can grab all sorts of lightning friends here. Taking a peek at those prize cards, there's one of those Genesect EX, one of those Iron Hands EX, but there are 2 copies within the list, fortunately, and there are also 2 Joltik. We are getting away with some of those basic Pokemon being in the prizes. So it means we should have easy access towards the turn 1 Jolting charge. It won't take much here because we've already led with the tandem unit. We can happily find our lightning Pokemon. If we have access to a ball search card, we can use that Skyliner to move this Miraidon EX out of the way. Equally, if there's Arven in the hand, we can use Air Balloon as well to get into our Joltik. It shouldn't be too difficult to power up a threatening Pokemon here.
Well, Fuguan teasing us by not showing us that hand, and there is outs, as you mentioned. The Nest Ball will be a way to find a basic Pokemon and put it onto the bench. The Latiasi X is in deck and will be a free retreat option with that Skyliner ability. So important for the mobility of this deck, as well as another Nest Ball in hand, ready for either now or future turns. Pretty much got everything he needs. The energy onto the Joltik would allow him to get going. But we'll be playing that Nest Ball, just trying to find all of those important cards at this stage. The Gimme Ghoul to set up the draw engine from Gholdengo, and pretty much the perfect time for Fuguan early on here.
As everyone expects, we're going straight into the Joltik. We're going to swing an energy on and Jolting Charge up. And Rhydon EX might even be powered up in this stage. Be threatening the Petra Run. If you've caught Gabriel on a weak hand, you could try and put 2 energy onto that Rhydon EX and put the pressure on that way. The Iron Hands EX is always tempting, though.
And could just Jolting Charge again next turn. There's no harm in doing so. But the Iron Hands will be set up. That kind of blocks Gabriel out of putting any single prize Pokemon in play, but with that TM evolution, there is a world where there will be Pokemon out of range of the Iron Hand, so we'll be looking to do that this turn. The Iono, as mentioned before, each player shuffling their hand, putting it on the bottom of their deck, and drawing cards equal to the number of prize cards remaining. At this early stage, that is 6 fresh cards to look at, and the late game will be a key disruption piece for Gabriel, as it doesn't look like...
Ultra Ball, Mike.
Not ideal.
You're telling me. Putting it mildly, getting rid of 2 and Zoroark. Finding a Cleffa, being forced into a grasping draw here.
Wow.
And retreat this Petra Run TX, we can attach to it so that we can move it once again. We're power panning back in the Iono. We'll be drawing a huge amount of cards here with the grasping draw. In fact, it's the full 7. Gabriel navigated an awkward hand as best he could. Grasping draw, a great way to top back up on 7 cards. By no means ideal, but still in the game, and he'll have 7 fresh cards to put himself in a better position.
Well, last game we saw that Iron Hands knockout early on and thought, oh my goodness, that's Gabriel out the game, but he was able to come back, and so recognizing that here and recognizing how important the grasping draw will be to have the perfect turn next turn, as 7 cards into hand and the turn ends through the attack. And now Fuguan will be thinking, what is the plan here? I've not seen this scenario before. This is an unfamiliar deck with an unfamiliar start. All the testing they would have done last night to prepare for the final would not have seen this, so he now has to work out, does he play it safe and go for another Jolting Charge, or does he get aggressive and take a knockout on that Cleffa?
Well, we see the tandem unit, which might indicate that it's time for Pikachu EX to make an appearance once again. There it is. We could easily just be going Jolting instead here. With additional manual attachments, it feels really good to power up this Pikachu. So the Team Rocket's Petrol in the hand that could grab an item card, or potentially a supporter for the next turn as well.
Great navigation here from Fuguan. Not being phased by the slow start of the opposition can often be quite tempting to get aggressive when your opponent has a slow start. In this case, slowing things down. Oh, will be going for the aggressive knockout with the Iron Hands EX, and the Pikachu going to be manually attached to try and increase the energy count, and that is 2 prize cards for Fuguan, just 4 prize cards away from being a world champion here in Anaheim.
Gabriel finally finding some buddy pop-in, can get access to these crucial basic Pokemon, but Fuguan is already putting him in this very steep position. As we see some prize cards, nothing too devastating. Should be plenty of Darkness Energy, but all such cards will be integral this turn, Mike. I think, honestly, we might need to try and work towards Double-Toed School this turn, in addition to our Enzarua, because it's so, as we see the pass back.
Oh no, just the pass. And that's not ideal again, and there's a target down on the bench. A Prime Catcher into the Enzarua will go into a free retreat pivot and some draw at the same time. This is going to be a wonderful turn for Fuguan. Just 2 prize cards here will put him 1 knockout away from becoming the world champion. As Gabriel playing it slow, not out of choice, out of necessity. And Iron Hands EX, amp you very much for the knockout. What can you do, Gabriel?
A 1 trade from Zoroark. Can we get any disruption into the mix? Are we going to have to use Irritated Outburst into this Iron Hands EX? Going to be pivoting into the Zoroark, poisoning with Subjugating Change, going into the Blood Moon Ursaluna E-Switch combination. We have the Professor Turbo scenario to pick up our Zoroark, which means we can get response KO here. Gabriel is not out yet.
And that response KO, using that Blood Moon for 240 damage, a way to knock out the Iron Hands EX. Yes, it might have seemed like Gabriel was out of it, but all of his most powerful attackers are only viable when Fuguan is on 2 prize cards remaining. So playing into that at this moment, Fuguan now, no Toadstool in play. The Gholdengo could be the outcome, the way to win the game, and we'll be looking to draw as many cards as possible. And with some superior energy retrievals, an Earthen Vessel, something to get the knockout. This could be the winning play right now. Fuguan, what have you got?
Already have 1 energy in the hand. Here's Flip the Script for 3 additional cards. Gholdengo EX already there. It looks like all the pieces are coming together, Mike. We're just making sure with this coin bonus, but gripping onto so much here. Arven in the hand. Have Metal Energy in the discard pile. Is that the only piece missing? Do we have access? We're going through the motions for Guan here. Is it there? Superior would be game, but as long as we had access to metal energy, but we don't right now. Somehow, there's no metal here. The only metal energy we've seen is attached to a Joltik right now.
Is there one in deck? The Earthen Vessel could find it out of the deck.
That's not enough to deal with this Blood Moon Ursaluna. 260 hit points is still a lot. Riel, skin of his teeth stuff here. Let's make sure.
As he puts the play together here, there's that metal energy, which will be used to attach to the Gholdengo. The question really is there a superior energy retrieval in hand? If there is, Fuguan will be making history here, and it looks to be a jolting charge. No access to the knockout on this occasion, is going to have to take a step back and prep for a future turn.
Well, keeping calm in these moments is integral, Mike, and Fuguan has done just that. Creeping closer with Pikachu EX. A really awkward Pokemon that Gabriel can't just take out in one turn thanks to Resolute Heart. And it is so threatening. 300 damage can knock out everything in Gabriel's arsenal. Leaving him with just single prize attacking options. Not many of those.
And that Pikachu will just sit there until the return knockout is required. There's no single prize attacker for Gabriel to knock out with. It's going to be a tough old position to navigate in these final turns. Can't even leave damage on board. We don't have anything like that Monkey Dory. We don't have the ability to finish off. Maybe even a scratch into the Pikachu might be the only option at this stage to set it up for a knockout in future turns.
That's definitely the best play this turn, Mike. That's all we have. There is Energy Switch in the hand. Move on to the Enzarua. The only way we can prop the Resolute Heart and put some damage in safely. Try and two-shot the Pikachu EX.
In combination with a bit of disruption, that could be a mighty effective way, but no Gust here. We'll need to find it on the other side of this Iono.
And how does Gabriel move this Blood Moon Ursaluna EX is the last question. Well, we have the Heteron EX to do that, so it will... Can we find a counter catcher here from this Iono? Big 4 cards. Is there counter catcher? Yes,
there it is. Oh wow, Gabriel Fernandez always finds a way. Got that scratch from the Enzarua to put some damage on the Pikachu with Resolute Heart. Unable to one-hit knock it out. The only way around it here is 20 damage now and hope to finish it off later. No other attacker on Fuguan's board. Disruption. Boss's orders! Boss's orders in hand! And that's it! Fuguan Liao topples the Titan to become your world champion.
Fuguan has done it. The underdog goes undefeated and spoils the Fernandez fairy tale, and now joins him in the ranks as world champion.
Our first player from mainland China